Have you taken a bus into or out of downtown Portland at any point within the last 40 plus years? Well, then you've probably been on the transit mall and taken buses on it at least once or twice a day for years and years and years. Let me explain how it works. Southwest 5th and 6th Avenues in downtown Portland are mostly for transit use only. It was one of the first transit malls in the United States and has been operational since the late 70s. If you ever find yourself driving down here, I would personally avoid these avenues when driving your car because there are lots of restrictions. If you drive a car or truck or your own personal vehicle, you are only allowed to drive in the left lane on either street. The right 2 lanes are for transit only. If you try and drive in there, prepare to get honked at. I mean, it says bus only everywhere. Max uses the transit mall as well. The green, orange, and yellow lines to be exact. The trains in general, and you can literally just look at the track and see this, the tracks stay in the middle lane of 5th or 6th Avenue, but will pull over to the curb lane to serve a Max platform. And then it goes back into the center lane, and then by the time it gets to the next Max station, it pulls over again. No buses actually serve Max station platforms. They're only served by the trains. Okay, the 291 actually does serve it, but it's only at night and we don't really care about that, so yeah. Buses do the exact same thing. They drive in the middle lane on 5th and 6th Avenue and pull over to the edge lane when they're about to serve their stop. Now, in general, there are 4 bus stops between a Max station. So it'll be Max, bus, 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 Max, bus, 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 all the way up and down. Now, Portland streets are by far not perfect, and so this pattern is not always true, but that's just the general way that it was constructed. And these 4 bus stops that come between a Max station are served by a certain group of buses, and they are lettered as such, and so in general, whatever bus route you ride will serve the same. Let's say there's a Max station platform and your bus serves the next stop afterwards. It will always be, then, the stop after a Max platform. That's kind of confusing to word it like that, but it is true. Mostly. On 5th Avenue going southbound, the stops are lettered A, B, C, D. And then there's a Max platform. On 6th Avenue, they're lettered W, X, Y, Z. And then there's a Max platform. So here's an example. Line 9 on Powell Boulevard. It serves the A stops on 5th Avenue and the W stops on 6th Avenue. And that's just what it does. Now you can choose to memorize that if you're going to ride that bus line, but you don't really have to nowadays thanks to Google Maps or PDX Bus or any sort of transit app or website or whatever that can just show you the list of stops and then you can just plan from there. So anyways, back to operations. Buses stay in the middle lane, and then when they get to the block where they're going to serve the bus stop, they pull over to the curb. But unlike Max, they don't get traffic signal priority. The Max does get traffic signal priority, so the buses will have to possibly wait at a red light for quite a while. Also, very importantly, if I'm sitting on the curb lane and I'm serving a bus stop in the transit mall, you must wait for all the traffic in the middle lane to be clear before you leave the curb lane and begin to go further on the transit mall. So you might be sitting at the curb waiting for all the buses to go by and trains to go by before you pull away from the curb. Here's some useless trivia for you. What bus stop on the Transit Mall has the most amount of bus lines serving it? That would be Southwest 5th and Pine. Now let's talk about North Terminal. There are two bus loop things up by Union Station on the north end of the Transit Mall. It's a terminal on the north side of the Transit Mall. Both of these bus loops are sort of surrounded by MAX tracks, and they both do have a special name. There's North Terminal 5th and North Terminal Hoyt, depending on the side that you're entering from. About 10 to 11 buses can be stored here at maximum capacity, which is better than nothing, but it is quite small. There's also a break room here and some other stuff as well. It's not public, it is not a transit center, you cannot board buses here, but it is a place where operators get to take their break. Now, I have my own idea for how to reconfigure North Terminal and all of that sort of thing, which should get its own video later, but that is not going to be this video. Although I would like to see it expand to be able to store 60-foot buses, because major routes, such as the 9 on Powell, definitely need articulated buses. But, again, that's a topic for a different day. And it looks like we've hit the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and happy transit riding.